it gives me tremendous pleasure now to invite Alderman Edwin Andrews to the stage. Eddie is Deputy Mayor of the City of Cape Town, and if you can picture that as being a 1,000-piece puzzle, I imagine your puzzle is 100 million pieces, and they don't fit together. And somehow, you do a terrific job of making a beautiful picture out of it all. So, with no further ado, and with me getting off the stage, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a hearty round of applause and welcome to Alderman Edwin Andrews.
Thank you, Dieter, and thank you for having me here. Do we need a password for... You don't have a password. There's a missing piece. You've got to be that piece.
It's a puzzle you have to solve.
It is indeed a puzzle. Okay, whilst we wait for the password to arrive, welcome to Cape Town. If this is your, can I get an indication this is your first time here in Cape Town? No? No? Because we need more ambassadors to go out there and talk about the Cape Town story. And so if all of you residing current, oh, there's a hand. Where are you from? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, and hopefully when you leave here and your notebook is full of notes, and maybe perhaps the last page is return to Cape Town, I think, permanently. And you, of course, are most welcome. So welcome and thank you for choosing Cape Town. I think we are really, as part of Team Cape Town, we're very proud of Cape Town. We love the fact that we live in a city that is just beautiful. And what makes it beautiful is not just its people and its diversity, but all 307 kilometers of our pristine coastline. I think that's really what makes it amazing. What also makes it amazing is that we have 21 nature reserves right here in the city of Cape Town, and we're very proud of that. And also we have World Heritage Sites. We have approximately 3 of those right here in Cape Town. One would be Robben Island, the second one would be Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens, and then the third one would of course be Table Mountain. That's the third one. So we have 3 World Heritage Sites. I'm very proud of that. And of course, besides what Dieter mentioned, the wine route is very popular, not just in Stellenbosch, but we also have Groot and Klein Constantia right here in the heart of Cape Town. And so that's why I love it here. I've been a resident of Cape Town since I was brought to my mother, my father via Stork, and I am still here. Can you see? Okay, we need to, let me just do this. So thank you. So the topic of my engagement, I have, I think, about 50 minutes left here, talking about the importance of long-term planning for bulk infrastructure. I think it's a very important conversation for us as part of Team Cape Town, because we're always responding sustainably to the urban pressures that we face. I'll be talking about those points. I've started already on my first point, and why is Cape Town so popular. We will also then look at what contextual realities we find ourselves here in this beautiful city, what solutions we have scoped, what investment we've prioritized, and how we believe that those investments prioritized really helps us sustainably respond to the urban pressures that we are experiencing here in Cape Town. I spoke about our nature reserves, I spoke about our coastline, and I also spoke about our World Heritage Sites. But I think also equally important why Cape Town is so popular and why people come to Cape Town and semi-migrate to Cape Town, because we are really absolutely serious about responding sustainably to the pressures we face, whether it's infrastructure upgrades, whether it being a more responsive government. We're really keen on that. And the bottom 3 points there just in terms of what reform we've pursued. We know that our energy plan is working. We are able to currently offer our residents 2 stages of load shedding, lower levels of load shedding. We are also the only city that has been able to sustain economic growth and promote, of course, the importance of jobs and create those jobs right here in Cape Town. But also, more importantly, our ease of doing business with the city of Cape Town we've launched earlier in May. And just quickly about the ease of doing business, speaks about getting your rates clearance certificate, land uses, building plans approved, and just your occupation certificate as well. Just, speaks to the culture of having a more responsive government in Cape Town. But I think also we're aware, for those who follow the reports, that Cape Town is very popular. It is also currently, we have 4.6 million people staying in Cape Town. We suspect by the end of this decade, it should be closer to 5 million people staying in Cape Town. And of our 5 million population, or 4.6 currently, there's also a high percentage of our households that earn less than 3,500 rand. So the household income levels is decreasing at a rapid pace. And also what we have to respond to, I made reference to it early on, the impact of informality. People come to Cape Town, they don't have a job, they don't have resources to families staying in Cape Town, and then of course, then they reside informally, whether it be legally or illegally. That's what happens here in Cape Town. Just during COVID as well, we've seen significant amounts of public land that has been unlawfully occupied. Very important concern for us. Recent conversation, or current one we're busy with, the Central Line that services most of our Cape Flats, the Mitchells Plain community, and Khayelitsha, and Bonteheuwel and the surrounds. It's been dysfunctional for the last forever. We have people residing over the rail track, putting structures on there, and of course the rail track itself, and all of the infrastructure are gone. So the Blue Downs Rail Corridor expansion plans that has been proposed for decades has been put on the back burner because you now need to fix existing infrastructure concerns. Also the environment. We have to grow as a city, but we have to do so sustainably. And so we've just seen over the last couple of days what has happened with the heavy downpour. I was unfortunately also affected. I was stuck in Struisbaai for an extra 2-3 days. Because the exit road was completely waterlogged. You could not get through there, and eventually at some stage you could then leave with a bakkie, and you on a wing and a prayer if you had a car and you wanted to exit back to Cape Town. And of course parts of the N2 at Botterivier completely collapsed. Of course that being a main national road alternative. So the impacts of the environment, we also need to ensure that we have mitigating measures in place to sustainably respond to those as well. And I think if I speak about Team Cape Town and Dieter, the Team Cape Town, there are 33,000 pieces of that particular puzzle. That's the staff complement, and there are 4.8 million pieces of puzzle that we are servicing on a daily basis. This is why we are in government. We believe that we need to constantly improve the living conditions of the poorest residents. We need to roll back poverty to ensure that in a meaningful way that we are able to impact and improve the quality of people's lives over time. Emphasis on over time, because it's not going to happen just overnight. And I think also we are acutely aware of the fact that we are, in the city of Cape Town, one of the few, if not the only metro, where you have political stability, and you have policy certainty, and you have a competent administration to implement. And so we're able to exploit that and make decisions and hopefully inspire the rest of South Africa what a good, competent government looks like and how you actually fulfill the role of a local sphere of government. Because all the levers that you are needing are within the ambits of local government. That's the reality. And that's why we're advocating for other functions to be devolved to local government, i.e. the management of rail, management of small harbours, and of course, you also see the argy-bargy in the safety space between the City of Cape Town and the National Minister of Belize. But we also understand that the biggest handbrake on any form of growth would be Eskom, and the fact that we're unable to ensure stable supply of power to the country and you can't produce, you can't manufacture if you don't have power. For those who follow the data, in terms of the diesel bill and what's happening in that space is just of concern. And that's why it's important for us that we get stable power supply back into the city of Cape Town. And we hope to do so in 18 to 24 months' time by offering another 2 levels of load shedding. So in 2021, 1 November, there was an election. We've gone out to say to the 4.6 million people, this is our scorecard, this is what we'd like to do in the next 5 years. We believe that these 7 points are important because it has a direct impact on your quality of life. Whether it be a safer community, whether it be just having a more responsive government, whether it be the cleaning up of our public open spaces and water bodies in the city of Cape Town, whether it be the release of public land we have and accelerating our housing pipeline, and also doing our basic services better. I spoke about rail and fighting for the devolution thereof and the extension of the MyCity bus. And I also alluded to the point number 3, for the city of Cape Town to be the easiest place of doing business with in Africa. But also we recognize that it's difficult. I think if you look at our 8 districts, the big story is that we've got 8 districts, we've got wastewater treatment works in those districts, and they are at capacity in nodes that are sought after, where we need to develop in the city of Cape Town. That will be parts of the Helderberg, it will be Milnerton, Tableview, Blouberg and surrounds, and of course it will be Athlone, the Athlone wastewater treatment plant. So that's what we need to do, and those big capital programs or projects or required investments, it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. It is complex. It is really complex. And we've just now, a couple of months ago, had a sod turning exercise at the Potsdam wastewater treatment plant, where we're starting the upgrade of that plant, and the total cost of that program would be 5.7 billion rand, just the one program that we have on our capital budget. And of course, that's what we face. These are the pieces of the puzzles that we look at every single day. But we also realize that we've not really sustainably taken into consideration the impact of population growth. And asking ourselves as a sphere of government, what investment do we require to sustainably manage the growth that we are experiencing? And the numbers didn't balance, so you've got to invest in your existing infrastructure, but you also have to invest in new infrastructure. And there was a massive shortfall, as you can see, that we had as part of Team of Cape Town. And sadly, some of our departments did not sufficiently or sustainably invest in the repairs and maintenance of infrastructure, and it just went in a state of disrepair. And this is basically just a slide will tell you in terms of what the annual need would be and what we've been spending in Team Cape Town for that particular period. We also don't make decisions in a vacuum. I think if you look at this particular slide, we've got 8 districts. We've just at the beginning of January approved our Municipal Spatial Development Framework. That is part of our Bible. The other pieces of the Bible would be the IDP, the Integrated Development Plan. And of course, those 2 documents are really, really important for us. What feeds into that would be the sector plans that our 11 departments has. So each department has to come up with a plan and saying, this is where we are going to be investing over the next medium-term expenditure framework. Period. So this is what we need to do. And they, of course, make their comment. And we have a spatial document that says this is where the growth pressures are, and this is where the infrastructure investment will follow. And we also have an entire department called the Future Planning and Resilience Department that would be, I can't think of a more diplomatic word, but let's call them gatekeepers. So if there's any misalignment, then they would tell you, please, why are you building homes there? There's no capacity over there. We need to build where the need is and where we do have capacity, because you can't build there if you don't have capacity as well. And this all feeds into our budgetary processes going forward as a municipality. They're very, well, I think you in the room would understand and appreciate this slide. It's a very busy slide. It basically, again, highlights that we don't make decisions in a vacuum. There are quite a few strategies that we have as part of Team Cape Town, and all of that guides our thinking in terms of what we need to do, whether it be our economic growth strategy, whether it be our climate resilience strategy, whether it be our energy plan, whether it be our water strategy. All of those strategies guides the department's sector plans and the drafting thereof, and eventually finds its way into the IPDF, of course, the Infrastructure Program Development Forum, and then a planning and delivery framework, rather, that we have in the city of Cape Town. And that feeds into the IDP and informs our budgets as Team Cape Town. But I think also we've now recognized that it can't be business as usual. We've recognized that we will remain the fastest growing city in the country. We also recognize that we have current urban pressures that not unique to us, other cities as well. So recognizing the problem, scoping solutions, that's the easy part. Then you have to finance those solutions. And earlier in this year, we've announced a very ambitious program, a 120 billion rand capital program over the next 10 years, that we've said this is what we will be focusing on as Team Cape Town over the next 10-year period, so that yourselves that are looking for jobs may have an opportunity to apply, when I'll talk about it in a moment, in the city of Cape Town, but we realize this is what we need to do. And the reason why is so important, because you have to continually grow as a city. If you don't grow, you are dying. And so you have to grow. The mayor, in his inaugural speech, made the following remark and said that he wants to see the city full of these cranes, that really clearly demonstrate and displays growth, that there's growth, that stuff is being built across the city. And the 120 billion rand would be, of course, into our water space and our water and sanitation department. They have the biggest chunk of that budget. We also will be, continuing with the next phase 2A of our My City, public transport system. And there, of course, there's about 1.2 billion rand that we're investing into the environment as well. And also speaking about, the need for housing, looking at social housing, and how do we dispose of land to the sector so that they can, build and assist us satisfying the housing need here in Cape Town. So it's a very ambitious program, and we're very excited about that, because that's exactly what we need to do as a local sphere of government, because we have to move away from these warm and fuzzy programs. We need to look at investing in programs that is important, that improves the quality of people's lives meaningfully over time. And not just, here's something small for you, whether it be, some warm and fuzzy interaction, but really some investment in key areas that is so important. And so to achieve these objectives, I use the word ambitious, because it is exactly that. And for those mathematicians in the room, if you're looking at 120 billion over 10 years, it equates to 12 billion per annum, and per day we need to spend approximately 33 million rand. I'll pause there. We need to spend approximately 33 million rand. And this includes the builder's holiday period. A December period when nothing happens, it includes that period. 33 million rand. We've just, in the last financial year, just came short of spending 7 billion rand in the city of Cape Town. And most of you in the room would also appreciate the complexity of the public sector, and why it's important we have healthy systems in place. And these programs won't be implemented on budget and on time without the right systems in place. So we recognize that we need to further capacitate our project management department, and so we've done that. There are team members that have been additional team members that have been hired, and so that we monitor the implementation of these projects. And so everyone is excited, nervous at all of this, and I think rightly so. And also that the third point there, the necessary monitoring and evaluation takes place. I think that is so important for us as well. So we can see what reform we need to pursue to ensure that, because you don't have time to waste. If you don't get it right now, what needs to be done? What are you proposing to fix it? Because next financial year, the conversation has already started. And it could be getting the right tender in place or tender specifications and awarded on time as well. And I think that's, once you've got the budget and you've announced your CAPEX program, now the work starts. And I think Dieter also mentioned this remark. Public sector is really a complex bureaucratic beast, and I use the word beast intentionally. We've got 33,000 people working in the city of Cape Town. And our first task when we took office on the 1st of November was to ensure that we cultivate the right culture in the city of Cape Town. Because we recognize that culture will eat strategy for breakfast. You can have the most amazing plans, but if you don't have the right culture, you are not going to be moving an inch. Because we need to ensure that all of our team members, 33,000 of them, subscribe to the organizational culture, the new culture that we have put before them as well. But more important that the word, we always say don't work in the silos. We need to work transversely. That it's not just a word that looks beautiful and reads beautifully on the report document, and everyone's saying the right things, ticking those boxes, but it actually in practice is realized that we're working together transversely now. Sadly so as we call ourselves Team Cape Town, but there's still pockets where we need to push a bit harder to work transversely so that we can, implement programs more efficiently, and also, identify the most efficient way to implement those programs and constantly give feedback to the decision makers, because that is so important. So what we found is that in the previous term of office, that the team were not really being innovative. They were not, putting solutions on the table. They were fearful of being performance managed. And we said, well, let's flip that around. Let's rather, create a culture where even if you've erred but you've tried and it was an attempt, we'll support that. And there won't be any, performance management. And as a result, in April this year, we've announced to our internal team members the stupid rule button. So we've asked, I don't know if any of you saw that, so we're saying to our Team Cape Town, if there's any rule in the city of Cape Town that you think we should remove, let us know. And unless there's a legislative imperative, we will gladly remove that rule. Because over time, operational views or interpretation of policies becomes the Bible. And we say, well, if it's not necessary, well, just remove it. It is really something that we want to encourage our team members to work, and also continuously monitor the system's performance and make adjustments where needed. That, of course, is extremely difficult in our context in project implementation. If your contractor is not delivering on time, and of course you have to make financial adjustments to vitamin funds to another program that is able to accommodate those funds, or you suspend the program for whatever reason there's a need to do it. Now there's quite a few of those currently with all the construction mafia. What's happening, and we can't continue with the implementation there. But we need to identify those risks a lot sooner, and far too long. And so for my department, spatial planning and the environment that I'm politically responsible for, I said to the team, so every month we get reports, and there's a little last column that says, it gives a footnote on what's happened over the previous period. And I look at every single month's inputs, and I said, hold on, but you said the same here 3 months ago. Why is this the copy and a paste? This shouldn't be. What's happening here? And then there was one program that was stopped because of extortionists on site. I said, hold on. I could have told you that there were extortionists on site in that community. How do you wake up now and then say we can't proceed with the program? And so we're really encouraging the team members to be a lot more generous with the inputs and give that timelessly so we can make adjustments where needed. But I think we've recognized that the shared future that you and I are a part of, that Rainbow Nation, and all of what encompasses within that space, the solutions could not be scoped only by the public sector. One of the primary reasons why we've changed our payoff line from the city that works for you to making progress possible together, because we recognize the importance of partnerships. We really can't do it ourselves. We will never be able to satisfy the housing need by ourselves. We will never be able to satisfy the energy need by ourselves. We need private sector participation and also yourself to give input as professional body, to give input into our processes and what we should be doing. I remember in 2011, my first year in the public sector, the first My City bus was about to leave Mitchell's Plain to Cape Town CBD. And on the bus, we had the then executive mayor and the political principal for transport. And I was there as the chairperson of the committee. And the bus drives to town. And just as you get to Hospital Bend, a guy by the name of Mr. Hawk Williams, and he turns to me, said to me, Eddie, and he's from the Taxi Association. He says to me, Eddie, I say, what, Mr. Williams? He says, you know why our buses, or our taxis rather, don't drive up here on Hospital Bend towards town? We turn off on the main road. I said, no, well, please enlighten me why that is. He says, because if you drive multiple routes per day on Hospital Bend, you know what's going to happen? He says, you're going to have to replace your wheel bearings, you're going to have to replace your gearbox at some stage, and your engine's going to pack up at some stage because you're going up there with a heavy load. Here's someone that has not really, I doubt if he's passed matric, but he's got, the University of Life, he's got that qualification, and he makes that recommendation, something that our engineers probably thought of, but well, we need an express route. The objective is to get to town as quickly as you possibly can, and forget about the repairs and maintenance concerns, forget about the fact that the buses will break down at some stage, and forget about possibly the electric buses if they'll have enough power to go up Hospital Bend there. And I never forget that moment, because here's someone that's in the sector, in this space, and his input was really invaluable to me personally. Instead of reading a report, the interaction I had with him as an actor of society was really, really important as well. Because that sustained interactivity is really what excites us. That it informs our processes and what we need to pursue as Team Cape Town to respond sustainably. But I think also, there's quite a few things that we've done over the past period, and I thought I'd put up the slide just in terms of what reform, other than highlighting the problems, solutions, and budgets, but what has been done over the last year and a bit. And I think if you look at, I spoke about our infrastructure spend and what we're doing in the energy space, where we now also will become a supplier of energy. And one of our solar plants will probably be right out here in the Helderberg area. And we're also looking at increasing the capacity of our Steenberg Dam so we can double up there. Also, we spoke about delivering services sustainably. What we discovered, that all the service requests we received were in communities where people had access to resources to log those, cell phones, connectivity, and the like. And they said, well, why don't the other communities on the Cape Flats and the townships, why don't they log service requests? And well, thank you for asking. And the reason why we don't, because we don't have data. That's the main reason. Okay, well, let's just look at a solution here. And we've launched our app, so zero-rated app, where you can actually now register your service request. You can view your municipal account. You can comment on a planning application in your area. You can comment on any policy or strategy that we are currently looking at, and there's a public participatory process. And so that's also what happened just a couple of months ago. We spoke about making City of Cape Town safer for everyone, and that means everyone. And so we thought, let's just deploy hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement officers so that the more people you have, the safer you'll be. And then our law enforcement officers said to us, no, hold on. What are you doing? Can you perhaps consider, drones? Can you perhaps consider giving us dash cams and body cams, so it's a lot more safer for us? So whenever we are in pursuit of a perpetrator and there's a physical interaction and there could be shots fired as well, the body cams will help us, argue legally if there's a need to do so. And with the drones in some area that is extremely dense, You can then deploy the drone, and you can see where, because it's infrared, you can see where the people are running, and you can just go wait on the other side and wait for them in that particular space. And so we've allocated, you can see they're just under R1 billion over the next 2 to 3 year period, where we're looking at additional CCTV cameras, looking at dashboard cams for the vehicles, and we're also looking at drones and the body cams that have been recently launched. But in the bottom left, a program, I don't know if you can see that, it says this small-scale rental housing in South Africa is an idea whose time has come. I attended an event where the PPC, the cement company, they had I think it was a centenary, but it was quite a big event. And they said to me, you know where we are selling most of our cement? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. We see development in the north, in the south of the city, and all of it. Says, no, Eddie. You know where we're selling most of our cement? In the townships. A Gogo is selling most of. What do you mean the Gogos? Help me understand. And then we discovered that people are building these units, the small-scale rental units in the townships illegally, but they're getting the cement. And so what PPC have done, they've reviewed their business model. So you can actually now buy 10 bags of cement, even the Gogo, and you can then, of course, sell to the micro developers in that area. So we asked the sector, and we worked with academia on this as well. We asked them, so why are you building illegally? And they said, well, thank you for asking us. Sit down, you need some time for this. So the reason why we're building illegally is because, first of all, we don't have money for a professional team. Where are we getting money for an architect? We don't have that money. Secondly, we already have illegal renovations on our property, so you're going to charge us admin penalties. We can't afford that. Another barrier. Thirdly, when there's an approved application, City of Cape Town, you want development charges. Where must we get that? We don't have that either. And then also, your zoning scheme does not permit 10 to 12 units on a SR1, single residential 1, or single residential 2 property. You're never going to approve our plans. So we're dead in the water. So we've decided to build without your permission and illegally connect your bulk services, and we're going to be living our best lives. And so that is what has happened. And so this particular program now, so okay, let's flip it on its head. So now what we are doing is we are now offering them, and we're not there yet, but this is what we currently have approved by council. We are now going to be offering them pre-approved prototypical plans on an app. So we're going to offer them that. We're also going to be waiving all the admin penalties that they have. And also the DCs, the developmental charges, we're going to be waiving all of that as well. And this particular program is now able to offer an unemployed asset owner a house, unemployed asset, we're able to connect them with a financial institution who will finance the development. And you only start paying your rental, your first repayment once your property is fully tenanted. That sector is growing at a rate of knots without us. So we're going to get behind them, we're going to be supporting them, and we're going to incentivize compliance is our objective, because we need to know who's connecting to our grid legally so your system works the way it should, and there's not necessarily blockages in our sewer system or water system. And ultimately, end of the day, we have a legally approved building plan, a legal development, and you now have a proper valuation of that entire site, and there will be rates and taxes that will be due to the city. And we also know now from an infrastructure planning process what bulk infrastructure would be needed in those particular areas. So that basically would be the current reform. I just chose those few that we are pursuing, because when you consider the long-term planning for bulk infrastructure, then you're able to sustainably respond to the impacts of urbanization, because people are going to come here, and we know they are coming here, and will remain the fastest growing city. We're able to sustainably respond to urbanization. But more importantly, we're now able to offer the sector, and those who want to invest here, or live here, the confidence and certainty and clarity that you'd need, because you are also busy with your business plans. You also want to know where I need to invest, where's the capacity to invest, what is the City of Cape Town doing, and aligning your plans with our plans as well. Because our ultimate objective is that, and we welcome people to come to Cape Town, because we know our desire is to locate Cape Town not just as a city of hope, but also a place for you to live, to work, to play, but importantly, to invest. Because we need private sector investment to sustainably respond to our future. And as a consequence of that, as a consequence of putting all those pieces of the puzzle together, offering the necessary clarity and certainty to the sector, to professionals, we are now satisfying our ultimate objective, which is to locate the city of Cape Town as a city of hope, and now responding sustainably to that triple threat that face most of our vulnerable in the city of Cape Town: poverty, inequality, and unemployment. And it's not just unique to Cape Town. I'm speaking on behalf of Team Cape Town. We're recognizing this. We've got plans to ensure that we improve the quality of people's lives over time, and this is how we are going to be doing it here in the city of Cape Town. And you can look at the stats. It's not just our assessment of the current state of affairs, but look at what's happening. We've seen now with the recent taxi strike what happened when the taxi association decided that we're just going to pack up and we're going to strike, and these are the reasons. There were thousands of people who had to walk home on the highways. And again, just highlighting we're still in a space as a country to respond to the legacies of apartheid, where there's still levels of inequality. And also the small-scale rental program, when you have those sort of partnerships, you're also able to respond to poverty and our people living informally. Because why people go live there in those small-scale rental programs, they are blacklisted. And these are your teachers, your nurses, your professional persons, because these small-scale developments I did not mention, these are fully enclosed. They've got electric fences. They've got a laundromat downstairs. They've got elevated development, so the parking is underneath. And you now have, on a 1,000 square meter plot, you now have 12 units, and this is a recent example, 12 units, this was out in Mandalay in Cape Town, 12 units, and you have the passive income that accrued to that property owner of approximately 120,000 Rand per month. So the passive income is there, and the reason why people live there is because it is clean, it is safe, and of course it's still within the community that they want to remain in as well. And also, even though Cape Town has really shown tremendous promise over the past quarters in terms of how we've been able to produce a lot more working opportunities in the city of Cape Town, and the figures in unemployment has come down in Cape Town, we still have a long way to go as a country, but also as Team Cape Town. But we believe that we're on the right track. We believe that over time we will most certainly achieve the objective to ensure a city of hope for those who currently reside in Cape Town, and also those who are flirting with the idea, like the delegate from Pretoria, to come to Cape Town. And my last remark to yourselves as the sector would be, as a professional person, that you have a very, very, very important role to play as well. So your professional input into whatever space it might be, it is so important that you never lose sight of the fact that you are contributing towards improving the quality of somebody's life at the end of the day. Whether it be how the system is changed, ensuring it's more efficient, whatever it might be, an engineering solution, that is what is important. And don't ever lose sight of that. There are people at the end of this sort of conveyor belt of the public sector that we would like to have. That is my last slide. I don't see my thank you slide here, but I'm assuming it's there. Thank you for having us. I wish you a productive couple of days here out in the Helderberg in Cape Town. Enjoy all that Cape Town has to offer, and may you sign the employment contracts as well. As you heard, there are quite a few of those. Thank you so much, Rita.